Welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast. My name is Jason. Thank you so much for listening. If you do not already follow me on Instagram, I would appreciate a follow. I will follow you back. You follow me at Dram_amateur. It's where I post all of my content, post pictures, reels, all those other fun things. And like to interact with all of you guys, get feedback on the podcast, share that with me. If you like the podcast, definitely give it a thumbs up, give it a like, give me a download, give me a 5-star review, all of those things. But certainly the biggest part is thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the podcast and supporting it. Very much appreciated. So welcome to episode 2 of December of 2023. If you guys have not listened to part 1 yet, definitely listen to part 1. But we were left off talking about my trip to Germany in the first part of my December, which was really good. It was a lot of fun. A little busy, a little crazy, a little hectic, a little chaotic, but it was fun. So left off when I was in Germany on Saturday. I think it was Saturday the 2nd. Yeah, I think it's the 2nd. And we were sightseeing. So I went to a place called Mike's Whiskey Shop. And so to find like a place that just had whiskey was pretty cool. It was tucked away in this building. So I remember seeing it last time I was there, and it was closed obviously because it was late at night. But when we went this time, we stopped in. And it was on our route. I'm like, oh, I want to go check it out. So you had to walk through this other store. It's like a lighting store to get to it. So you had to walk through this lighting store, up these stairs to this next level to get to the place. But I walked in. Here's this old guy. He says his name is Mike. He is smoking. It's not a cigar, but it's something like cigarette-like. It had a cigarette smell to it, not a cigar smell to it. And the entire place smelt like smoke. That's who Mike was, and that's fine, right? So very much appreciated that. But what the fun thing about this was, so it is a store, but it's also a little bit about his collection as well. So what Mike does, so Mike's been doing this for several years. He was telling me that what he does is he goes stateside, and he purchases bottles, does all these things. He actually does store picks. He has single barrels of stuff as well. So he does store picks as well. And he will go buy these things, bring them back over and sell them. He had several store picks. He had a lot of, he had a special relationship with Malama Green. He had a Garrison's Brothers store pick. He was a big fan of Texas whiskey. He liked the higher proof. He liked the flavor of it. His palate, he said, had changed over time, and he liked Texas whiskey now. So that was a lot of what he had in stock, which was cool, right? You know, I appreciated that. But it was like this little store. So when you walked in, it was like these 2 old wooden doors that slid together into one. And it's this tiny, I mean, God, it was probably 500 square feet, if even that. And you, to the left was a bar. So it was like this whole bar area. You couldn't drink, like you couldn't buy a pour or anything like that, 'cause that's what I thought it was. And behind the bar, he had all the bottles that you could kind of buy, that he had. So not only did he have store picks, but he had other things that he had brought over as well. I don't know if I took a picture behind the bar. I'll have to look. But around the top of the room, there was a shelf that went around the entire top of the room. And it was filled around the entire room with old bottles. Bottles that I have never seen before in my entire life. So I walked in and I was like, first word was like, holy shit, right? I'm like in awe because of what he had up on the shelves. Looked behind the shelf, like I said, I think there was some things that I saw back there. But I was floored. Like, I could not fucking believe the shit that I saw behind, like around the top. So I'll share some of the pictures, or I'll talk to you about some of the pictures. He had one of his oldest bottles was called Stillbrook bourbon. He said this was one of his oldest bottles that he had collected. I took a picture of that. I'll post it. But then he had some old Woodfords. So he had a Woodford Reserve Masters Collection maple wood finish. He had a Woodford Reserve 4-wood. So these are the old Woodford Reserve bottles, which I've never seen before. So that was pretty cool. He had some old Jeffersons. He had an old Evan Williams as well. He had some old Jeffersons. He had a 15-year-old Jefferson's Reserve. He had a 10-year-old Jefferson's Rye, which was really cool. He had a single barrel. Is that the single barrel Jefferson's, or is that the single barrel Evan Williams? Man, I can't tell from this picture. I didn't do a very good job taking pictures, so shame on me. But he had that. He had, I'm going to go through my pictures here. He had an old, there it is. It isn't, is that an Evan Williams? Shit, I think it is. I don't remember. Anyways, he had an old Elijah Craig 12-year with the old bottles. He had an old Henry McKenna Sour Mash in this like jug with the damn tack strip still on it. It's a 10-year-old Henry McKenna Sour Mash. It's in this old like handle jug. He had that. What else did he have? He had an old E.H. Taylor small batch. It's a 700 mil, so I think it's probably probably the European release. He had an old single barrel. Oh shit! I just noticed this. Son of a bitch. Hold on a minute, I'll tell you. I haven't looked at these pictures very closely. He had, if this is obviously the one, but anyways, he had an old Eagle Rare. So I guess the old Eagle Rare bottles had a 10 at the top in the label, and then it had a label on the top that said Eagle Rare single barrel with the eagle underneath it. He has an Eagle Rare that's dark as shit too, by the way. I'm just noticing that too, from Roswell Beverage, a store pick from Roswell Beverage. So anybody, I'm assuming it's the Roswell Beverage that's in Georgia. I might be wrong, but maybe I'm not. But that's pretty cool. So he has that as well. I just saw that store pick label on it. All right, what else did he have? He had an old Jack Daniel's Sinatra. I'm just looking at the video I took right now too. He had a whole bunch of old Jack Daniels. So in 1995, gold medal Jack Daniels. He had another old Jack Daniels. I don't know what it is. He has a Jack Daniels monogram. He has an old Jack Daniels single barrel bottle with the old label on it. An old Jack Daniels rye. He's got a Jack Daniels Silver Select. Never even seen it before. Another old Jack Daniels single barrel. A Jack Daniels Master Distiller. He has an old Gentleman Jack. He has an old bottle of Jack Daniels, old time distillery, Jack Daniels distillery. He has a green label Jack Daniels. I mean, dude, the shit that this guy has is absolutely unfucking believable. He has a before and after the mellowing process bottles of Jack Daniel. I don't know if there's juice in those, but he had those as well. He had an old Bardstown bottle. He had an old Elijah Craig 18. He had two old Johnny Drums. One is a green label and one is a black label. God, the list goes on and on. He had old Makers, so he had an old Makers Marks. He had a private selection for him with gold wax on it. He was telling me something about this bottle. I don't remember what it was, but it's got gold wax on it. He's got an old Makers 46. He's got a black label Makers Mark, which with black wax, which I've never seen before. I think he told me it was a Japanese release. So that was pretty cool. Let's see, what else did he have? Man, the list goes on. Old Knob Creeks. So he had the old Knob Creek label, small batch rye, single barrel, the old Knob Creek 9 label, which I've never seen before. He had some old 1776 ryes and bourbons, a Chester Graves 90 proof with a tack strip on it. No idea what the fuck that is. Hold on, I'm gonna take a pour. I'm getting excited now and talking about all this stuff. Okay. Bear with me. He had some old turkeys. Man, the turkeys were the thing. I was like, son of a bitch. He had 2 old wild turkeys, an 81 and a 101. He had an old wild turkey tradition. He had an Austin Nichols, an 8-year that's half full still, with the gold fucking labeling, with the gold labeling, with the turkey and the gold labeling. I was like, bro, I'm like, this is killing me. I'm like, shit, man. I'm like, I just want to take a drink of that. He had an old wild turkey Kentucky Spirit. Let's see, what else did he have? It's the same picture. He had a old rare breed bottle that looks like it barely had anything out of it. Like, that's another one. Like, I'm like, holy shit. So he had the old rare breed bottle. He had an old wild turkey 1855 reserve, barrel proof bourbon. So I don't know what, I've never seen that bottle. He had an old 101 rye as well. That was probably some of the coolest things. And then he had some old High West. So he was telling me that he remembers getting High West before High West was even big, and being involved with them with some things and how good the juice used to be from High West. So it was pretty cool. We were talking about those. He had some old High West bottles that I haven't even seen before. He had some Garrison, some Knob Creek rye. He has a tobacco something. He has a couple other bottles too. He had an old Bernheim that I've never seen before. He had, and then the creme de la creme, he had an entire wall of Willet. With the Willet, there were various purple tops. I'm not fucking shitting you, right? And there's a gold top one, which I did not get pictures of every bottle. I got them from a distance, so I don't know, what was in them. He had Willet, purple tops. He had the black tops, the green tops. He had a gold top Willet. He had tons of them. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different Willets. One of the Willets in a tube. And I was like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, go a Willet in a tube. I'm like, that's cool as shit. So we got talking about the Willet. Again, we didn't really get into it. I'm like, that's just crazy to see that much. I said, it's really hard to find in where I'm at. He knew, right? He was telling me some of the stories and like how he got all these. Some of them are 700 mils, so they're international releases as well. But he was telling me some of the stories behind them. But that was one of the biggest things he had was a bunch of Willet. And he was telling me, I said, well, what's in the tube? And no, he said the tube one was the 10-year one. Yeah, I think the tube one was a 10-year one. And I said, well, what's in the tube? And he's like, yeah, that's the 10. Let me see. Am I right with that? Yes, I am right. He said, that's the 10-year one. And I said, or the 50 or 12-year or something like that. It was older, right? And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I've never seen one in a tube before. I'm like, that's pretty neat. He's like, yeah. He's like, that's not even the oldest one. He says, the one next to it's the oldest. It's a 17-year. I'm like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, that's insane. I'm like, you have a 17-year fucking Willet? I'm like, that is nuts to me. I'm like, I've never even seen that. He's like, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So we kept talking about stuff and everything. So we talked forever. We were talking. He was telling me stories of like I said, how he has a relationship now with Malama Green, with Garrisons, how he gets over to the States. He actually said he had he had, oh God, what do you say? Like 30 cases of something in a warehouse that he was waiting to have delivered. I think it was a Maker's Mark pick that he did. He was telling me that he used to come to the U.S. all the time and buy all these bottles and then bring them back to Germany and sell them. He used to come and he said, I used to come get cases of stuff and bring it back to Germany and sell. And he says the market's shifted and changed so much now that he's like, I can still do it, and I try to do it once a year, but it's just not like it used to be where you used to be able to get all of these things for a decent price, quality product too. That was the one thing I will tell you that he did harp on, was that like he mentioned Maker's Mark, he mentioned High West, he mentioned what was it? Willet. He even mentioned Willet. He mentioned, oh God, what was the other one as well? Wild Turkey. There was another one. I think he might have mentioned Buffalo Trace. He was telling me, he says, for me, in my experience, he says the quality has completely changed on all this stuff. He was saying, he's like, look, Maker's Mark back in the day was a really high quality product. And I think that's where he pointed to like the Japanese release. That was the black label, the gold label, the gold one that he had as well. He was telling me stories of like the quality and how even High West, when High West first started, the quality of the product there as well. It's just completely changed, whether they source it or make it themselves, like all of these stories. And he's just like, it's completely different now. I was telling him about the 2016 Burai I have, and how I acquired that. And he was floored. He said that was a really cool story, how I got that. So I was sharing some of the things with him as well. So we talked for, I think we were in there for, I don't know, almost an hour and a half, 2 hours. The person I was with, she was a trooper. I think she was enjoying me appreciating like all his stories and what he was doing and why he was bringing things back, and how he would sell the things. Now, so he would bring back cases of things now and he sells them. So he does his store picks. He will buy other bottles and bring them back and then sell them. He said he also has a collection at home with a whole bunch of stuff too that is part of his personal collection. So we were shooting the shit, talking and everything like that, and we got to a point where I was just looking around still, and I remember looking back at like the Wild Turkey and just saying, how much, I told him, I said, I'm a big Jack Daniels fan. I said, I just went to the distillery a little bit ago for third time doing a tour. And he was telling me about some of the bottles he had from Jack Daniels. Didn't go into too many stores. I said the Wild Turkey stuff. I said, that's really cool to see like an Austin Nichols bottle and see some of those Wild Turkeys. I said, I'm a huge Wild Turkey fan. I also told him I was an Old Forester fan as well. I told him, I said, I said, I enjoy a lot of their products. He was even saying back then, like the Old Forester stuff was even so much better than it is today. And then we started just talking about the Willet. I remember because I was sitting at the bar closest to the Willet up top. And I said to him, I said, to be honest with you, it's really cool to even see that many Willet. I'm like, I rarely see, I told him, I said, I see the rye a lot. I see the rye a lot. I said, I see pictures. I said, people buy it and sell it on secondary. And he rolled his eyes and chuckled about the secondary market. He says the problem is, he says, you can't even go to a liquor store now without paying secondary prices or higher for the Willet. I said, I agree. I said, most of the time, now I said that the cheapest Willet I think I've seen is like $3.50 or $3.99 for a bottle, and I said then you can turn around and sell it on secondary for like $1,000 to $2,000 if people do that. And he just shook his head and he's like, it's the whole market's just completely ruined because of secondary. He says the fact that bottle is even $300, $350, $399 now. He says just to the normal consumer through the liquor store, he's like, that's ridiculous. He says it's ridiculous. He says that's not what bourbon was made for. He's like, everything in here is made for sharing. And he got up from so he was sitting in a stool smoking his cigar or cigarette. It wasn't a cigarette. It was like more like a cigar. And he got up and he grabs a glass from underneath the counter and puts it down on the counter. And he stands up and he reaches for zero hesitation, right? Zero. Like I didn't ask for it, nothing. Like we're just shooting the shit. And like he like pulls down. It stands up and he reaches up top for the Willet and he pulls the 17-year Willet. I was like, my body was like in shock, right? Because he did it like so nonchalantly. I didn't ask for it. We weren't talking specifically about it. We were just talking about like the quality of the product and like, and he told me, he's like, that bottle right there with that amount of liquid in it would sell for $10,000 plus. So he was even saying like we were talking specifically about the Willets that were on the wall, and I just told him, I said, that's ridiculous. He says, I know. He said it's nuts. He says, but the value's there. He's like, it's good for me, right? And I says, absolutely, right. So like I said, so he gets off his chair, reaches down, pulls the stemmed Glencairn, puts it on the counter, walks over to the Willet shelf, reaches up, grabs the 17-year off the shelf, comes over, literally pulls the top out of it and pours it right into the glass. I seriously fucking almost fell out of my chair. Like I literally looked at him. I remember my face, like, dude, I'm like, you don't have, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, are you serious? I remember telling him, I'm like, are you serious right now? I'm like, you don't have to do this. He's like, no. He's like, no, please enjoy. He's like, special occasion, you in Germany, we talked about Old Kirk as well. Like I was telling him, like, the Old Kirk thing, and who knows if it actually is Willet juice, but I was telling him, like, the only Willet that I buy is like the Old Kirk juice, and so on. So we were talking about those kind of things as well. So we were like shooting the shit, and he's just like, no, he's like, if you've never had it before, he's like, I would really appreciate it if you had it. I'm like, it's a 17-year Willet bourbon. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I'm like, no way in hell. And he's like, yeah, no. He's like, he gave me like an ounce pour, maybe a little bit more, maybe like 1.25 ounces. And he's just like, no, please enjoy it. He's like, it's my honor. He's like, you're my guest. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, thank you. And like, I just remembered looking at like my coworker, and I'm like, I literally said to her, like, you have no idea like what just happened. And she laughed, and he's laughing too, right? And I told her, I said, this is a 17-year-old Willet bourbon. I'm like, first of all, I've never seen one, never even heard of a 17-year-old. I said, but that bottle literally, he told me, he says it's $10,000. It's between $10,000 and $20,000. He said, I could probably sell it for $15,000 to $17,000, to be honest with you. And she's like, are you serious? I said, yes. I said, that's how I'm like, and you just, and I turned back to him. I said, and you just poured me a pour out of that bottle. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, he goes, 1 ounce out of that bottle is not going to impact the value of that bottle. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So here I am with a 17-year-old Willet purple top, or I think it's a family estate bottled single barrel bourbon aged in hand selected white oak barrels for 17 years, hand bottled from barrel number 58. Now I don't know if the barrels started at 1 and now they're at God knows what number. I don't know. But this is barrel number 58, 69.1% volume, 138.2 proof. So I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I posted recently a picture of it on Instagram to kind of showcase it. So I'll be honest with you too. The pour was amazing. It was a struggle though. So because he smoked, everything in that store had that smoke on it. So even the bottles had a haze on the bottles. The glass smelled heavily of smoke. So I took forever swirling it around the glass, turning the glass on its side and coating the glass as much as possible. Obviously my nose was full of smoke as well, but the smoke had stuck to everything. So I did the best I could with it. The nose was unbelievable. I will tell you that. Lots of like seasoned oak, very oaky. It was a very oaky flavor to it. It definitely did have some of that, like, I'm comparing a 7-year to a 17-year, but it definitely had some of, if the Old Kirk is Willet, I did have some of that kind of flair with it, or like the kind of the similarities with it. I really thought it was very similar. And the first taste, it was hard because I got a lot of the, like I said, the smoke flavor in it because of the bottle. I don't know if his glasses were upside down. I don't know how they were stored or anything like that. But the first taste took me a while for my palate to adjust. But after that, it was amazing. It was a flavor bomb. I'll tell you, the viscosity of this, the mouth coat was unreal. Like nothing I ever had, in my entire life. It was phenomenal. Again, I battled with the smoke a little bit. Like I was sipping it very, very slow, swirling it in my glass, coating my glass as much as I possibly could while I continued to smoke a cigar as well. And it was hard to get through within the glass. Cause like I said, everything stuck to the glass, all the smoking that he did. I think he just probably smoked all day long, every single day. But it was really amazing. huge props to Mike for doing that. I asked him what his real name was. He just chuckled and said Mike. So I don't know if he's protecting himself or if his actual and real name was Mike, but I thanked him very much. We shook hands. He gave me like a half pat on the back, kind of like a half hug thing. And it was really cool. So we sat in there, talked for another 20, I think I took about 20, 25 minutes with it. I really took my time with it. Tried to do the nose as much as possible. Try to do like little small sips of it as much as I possibly could. I saved one big sip for the middle. So I took a few small sips, did a decent sized sip in the middle, then a few small sips at the end. Because I wanted to try to do it. Like I said, the one thing that stuck with me is the mouth coat, the oak. There's a lot of heavy oak on it, obviously, as well, with it being 17 years. Proofy at first, very peppery. That first kind of thing kicked my ass a little bit. I don't want to say it was embarrassing, but like I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I've had high proof stuff before, but like that one was a little different. So it was definitely very peppery, had definitely the proof on it. So that was really good. But it was very, like I said, oak forward. Had some of the notes from the old Kirks that I've had before in the past. So it was phenomenal. It was really, really cool to be able to have. It was a very special moment. He knew how special of a moment it was to me. He told me, he said, he's like, thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it. Really great to meet you. I told him about the Instagram account and like all I was doing with the Instagram account. He thought that was cool. I told him we talked about how I had evolved into rum and tequila as well, which was pretty neat. So that was really cool too. So we had a great time talking back and forth. Like I said, we spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours there, talking with him. So it was really, really fun. It was great. Great experience, great guy. So if you're ever in Germany, check it out. Check out his place. Definitely go pay him a visit. But definitely something that I think it's a pour that I will never forget. I think what I appreciate about it it's a memory that I'll never forget as well. I'll always forget. I will always remember that Mike guy. Next time I'm in, I think I'm going to try to I don't know if I can bring samples over. I'm going to try to do something to bring samples over to him or something. I'll have to figure it out. But it was pretty cool to be able to do that and to spend the time with him. And for him, like I said, to take the time out of his day to do that, and he didn't have to pour that for me. That was pretty neat for him to be able to do that. So that was awesome. So anyway, that was a pretty unique experience. That night we went to a place called Little China Steakhouse, which was great. Man, we had steak tartare. We had amazing fresh salmon. We had an amazing dry aged steak as well, dry aged ribeye. It was fantastic. It was great. So that was fun. We drank more Glühwein after that. We went to the outdoors, like an outdoor bar, and had more Glühwein. Went back to the bar at the hotel. They had Appleton Estate Rare Blend, aged 12 years. I think this is the old label Appleton Estate. That was really good. So I had a couple of pours of rum as well, which was great. Bartenders there were awesome. So Saturday was a great day. So it was awesome. Sunday we got up, and we went and we decided we were going to go to a museum. So Sunday in Germany is a little unique. Hold on, I'm gonna do a pour. Or I should say a sip. Sundays in Germany are unique. Everything's closed. No stores are open. Christmas markets were open, but all the stores weren't. So we went and decided to go to a museum. There's a couple museums, quite a few miles, not quite a few, I don't know. It was walking. This is an hour walk, but you walk. That's what you do in Germany. So we went and did that. We went to an old art museum with art from like the 1300s, 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s. A lot of it was religious art. Man, it was fucking phenomenal. It was $1 to get in. It was €1 to get in, which was really awesome. We got to see pieces of art that were commissioned by old churches. I saw Da Vinci's. I saw Michelangelo's. I saw, oh God, who were some of the some other old artists? Unbelievable. But like lots of religious art. because a lot of them were, like I said, were commissioned by bishops, churches, things like that. And I mean, huge pieces of work. So a lot of Catholicism, a lot of Catholic stuff, a lot of Jesus and Mary, heaven, hell, purgatory, those kind of things. Amazing experience. Definitely glad I went, because it's you're seeing things from the 1300s, 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s. I mean, things that are still older than this country. Immaculate condition, the pieces of work. So it was a really unique experience. I spent a good half the day there doing that. On the way back from walking to that, we saw another Christmas market. So it was kind of tucked away in this like little like I don't know, like in between buildings and like this little like courtyard area. And it was completely different than the other Christmas market that we went to, which was awesome, because the other one kind of, after a while, you started to notice that like booths started to be the same. They started selling the same things, and kind of the things were not unique. So this one had like local artists who had made things. So they had like local, like I bought my daughter a leather bound notebook that was like handmade out of leather, stamped and like colored and all of those kind of things. That was really cool, really unique gift. I bought some handmade Christmas ornaments as well, which was really cool. So I got to bring those back. So you supported like local artists. They had like a play going on. So they had like actors from like medieval times. And they were like doing like jokes, since it was all in German. So I don't know German, but everyone was laughing. It was funny. You could tell even by their actions. They were teaching people how to use a sword, and they were being funny with it, how to use a joust, and they were being funny with it, things like that. So that was kind of cool. This one had some epic food, man. So they had, I don't remember what it's called, but they had Glühwein, so warmed wine, right? But it wasn't Glühwein. Warmed wine with a shot of rum on top. And then what they do is it's this big goblet glass, and there's this little like nook on the corner, and they put a sugar cube in it, and they light the sugar cube and the rum on fire. So the rum's on top of the wine, the mulled wine. It's all hot. And then they light the cube on fire, and they light the rum on fire. So you get this like goblet glass that's like burning, like this blue flame on top, and the sugar is burning. And then what you do is you push the sugar in, and it gets all melted into the drink. And it's fantastic. This was my favorite by far. You could taste the rum, you could taste the wine, the sugar added to it, because it was like burned and crystallized. So it was fucking awesome. I got this other thing too. I can't remember the name of it, but there was this like stand that was roasting an entire pig over coals, and they had all this meat and all this food, right? So this guy, I'm a sucker for like cranberry or something like that. And this wasn't cranberry, but it was like not boysenberry, but what the fuck is the other name? It's like a cranberry, and I can't remember the name what it is. But anyways, I'll call it cranberry. So this guy was eating a sandwich. So the bread over there is completely different than the bread in the US. I liken it to the bread in like the Northeast. Like if you go to like New York or like New England or something like that, the bread up there is completely different than the South, like because of the water. I swear it's the water, right? Same thing in Germany. So I walked up to a guy and I'm like, "Do you speak English?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Well," I'm like, "What are you eating?" And he's like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "All right, well, which one is on the menu?" He was cool enough to do that. So he told me. So we got this thing. So it's like this like tender beef, like sliced with like potatoes and onions, and they put it on bread. And then you take this like cranberry sauce. It's a different berry. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. And I smothered mine with that berry. And then you eat that. Oh my God, dude. The beef is like seasoned. It just melts in your mouth. The cranberry on top, it was fucking phenomenal. And the bread was so good. That was awesome. And then we had another one where it's like a wheat flour like dough kind of thing. So what they do is they cook it, but then they quickly fry it, like real quick, like not like really fried. It's very still tender. It's not crispy on the outside. And then they'll put sauerkraut in it. So it's a bowl of like this wheat dough. It looks like fingerling potatoes, right? This wheat dough, fingerling potato style, with a whole shit ton of sauerkraut. And I love sauerkraut. Sauerkraut in Germany is not like any sauerkraut you've had here in the US. Just note that to yourselves. With these, and then you can put bacon bits on top of it, and they're not like shitty bacon bits. Like these are big old thick pieces of bacon bits on top. Man, you have no idea how effing good that was. So I ate almost that entire bowl of all that as well. That was fantastic. So we had this like that as well. It was great, man. So you're sitting out there in the freezing cold. It was cold as hell on Sunday too. I don't think it got out of the teens. So we were warm walking around. That wasn't a problem because you're always walking, moving. But between the food we ate and the shopping and then the drinking, like that was awesome. We had a blast. It was so good. So that was great. Then we met my sales guy at an Irish pub in Germany to go watch football. So he was a Dolphins fan, or he is a Dolphins fan. So the Dolphins were playing at 1, which was because the Niners had the 4:00 game that night, right? 4, 6 would be 10. Yeah, so we were playing 4:00 versus the Eagles. So we went to this Irish bar. So it was this little Irish bar in a basement in Germany. So you walk down these stairs that go down. So when we got there, everybody's watching soccer. Everybody. The place is fucking packed with people watching soccer. So there's 2 soccer matches on that everyone was watching. Then when they were done with that, they switched it over to the Dolphins game, which was really cool. Dolphins were playing Washington at the time, so we were sitting there. The bar, I'll be honest with you, the bar sucked. They didn't really have, I would expect like decent pours, especially like an Irish pub. Liquor wise, nothing good. I ended up with a Redbreast 12, which was fine with, right? Like I don't mind that. I'm happy with a Redbreast 12, but I was thinking like, they would have rums and tequilas and good Irish, like all these different Irish, things, and the prices would be cheap, and they weren't. So I had a couple of Redbreasts, which was fine. And we watched a football game. We ended up running into people from the U.S. One guy was from the Midwest. Don't remember where. We met some guy and his wife from Philly. He was an Eagles fan. So, of course, me being a Niners fan, he was a piece of work. I'll just put it that way. He was an interesting dude. But they ended up hanging out. We ended up hanging out with them and talking with them. So it was really fun. So that was great on Sunday. Did that, and then went back to the hotel bar and drank more. So rest of the week was good too. We ended up going to the office. Went out to dinner every single night. We went and had one night. We had what did we have? Thai food. The Thai food restaurant was really good. That was awesome. We went to a German pub for dinner one night, which was great. I had veal sausages. Oh my God, fucking veal sausage was amazing. That's where I had German beer. So they had like the big beer mugs, and it was like the German beer, and it looked really good. Beer, sometimes the gluten kills me a little bit. So that was a little rough. But this beer was amazing. It was really, really good. I enjoyed 2 of them without any problems at all. The food was amazing also. So that was great. We had a great time there. Then we had like a conference with my global team, which was great as well. Friday night, we were going to go back into the city, but the weather wasn't good. It was like freezing rain, and we were worried about the train shutting down. We were all exhausted as well, so we just kind of hung out at the hotel there, and then flew back home. The rest of December, so that was my trip to Germany. The rest of December was the shit show from that point forward. So that was a good part of my December. When I got home, I struggled with jet lag quite a bit. I don't know why it took me 3 to 4 days to get back to normal. I was up at 2 a.m. every single day, like not up, but like awake, couldn't sleep, toss and turn. Was falling asleep at like 6 o'clock at night. One night I fell asleep at 6:30 on the couch after I had dinner. I fell asleep at 7 one night. So I was just struggling to get back. I could not get my body back. It was like 3:30 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon. and I was yawning, like constantly yawning in meetings. So it was tough kind of getting back into that. But then on Tuesday, the week I got back, I ended up starting getting sick. Kind of pushed through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, being sick. Friday it got pretty bad. I started getting worse and started going downhill. And then Saturday is when it kind of started to hit me. I started feeling really bad then the week after that. So, like, I don't know if I had COVID or I had the flu or what I had. I didn't test for anything, before I went to the doctor. So I ended up going for a week, I think. And then I'm trying to look at the calendar, remember what I did. But anyways, I was sick for a while and then started to go downhill that Friday. I think it was that Friday I started to go downhill. So I had it for 4 or 5 days at that point, and then just couldn't shake it and kept feeling worse and worse and worse. And then by Sunday, let's see, we were there for the entire week. Yeah. So by the 15th, I felt terrible. 16th, we had a basketball game I was supposed to coach. I didn't go because I felt so bad. I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck. But then on the 16th, I started feeling better a little bit in the afternoon. I got my strength back. I started eating. I started feeling better. I started to feel more like myself, and I was like, all right, cool. We're on the tail end of this thing. I'm like, fucking finally. And then Sunday the 17th, I woke up. Holy hell, dude. I literally felt like I'd been hit by a Mack truck. It was horrible. I had zero energy. I did not want to move off the couch. I did not want to do anything. It was really, really bad. So I ended up going to urgent care. Went to urgent care. I went to urgent care. I made an appointment at noon. So by the time, because I thought like if I started eating, so like Sunday morning, I woke up and I was like, hey, I'm gonna get some food in me. Maybe I'll perk back up like I did yesterday. It's just a matter of that. By like noon, like I could barely eat. I had no appetite. I didn't want to move off the couch. I was like, something's not fucking right. This isn't good. I'm like, I gotta go to the doctor. So I went to urgent care. Made an appointment at like 4:30 or 4. Finally got seen at like 5:15. Then they gave me a COVID test and a flu test. I already taken a COVID test at home and it was negative. They gave me a flu test and a COVID test. Both came back negative. Doctor came in. She's like, yeah, something's not right with you. So she gave me a whole like exam and everything like that. And I was coughing. It was in my chest. So I could feel it in my chest. And she's like, okay, I'm going to treat you. She's like, you got a severe case of bronchitis. She's like, we got to get this treated, or else you're going to have bigger complications than that. So she gave me medicine. She gave me an inhaler. She gave me steroids. She gave me an antibiotic. She gave me cough medicines, like all this shit. A bad part is I couldn't fill it until Monday because all the pharmacies are already closed. So had to go Sunday night, knowing what I had. Woke up Monday and just kind of slow rolled work, to be honest with you. I'm like, I had no energy. Even working from home, I was like, I can't fucking do this. It was terrible. Finally went and got medication, started getting antibiotics into me, and was on the antibiotic steroid train. So steroids for 5 days, antibiotics for 10. But still, toward the end of the week, I started feeling better. So that was the week that I worked. I was supposed to be off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Worked a little bit Wednesday, worked a little bit Thursday. Friday, I was off. So I went out and did some things. So I started feeling a little bit better enough to go out because we hadn't done Christmas shopping. We were already like way behind on Christmas shopping. We had to finish up Christmas shopping. We had to wrap. My wife then started getting sick like the 20th, 21st. So right before the holiday, she started not feeling good either. So she ended up making an appointment, I think, on the 22nd in the morning and went to the doctor. And they said she just had like she just had this like freaking upper respiratory infection that they couldn't give her antibiotics for. So they loaded her up with steroids and shit. It was probably what I ended up having at first, but mine transferred into bronchitis. So, I just felt like I would go out and do stuff for the day, and then I would come back home, and the next day I felt like I get hit by a Mack truck. Like I'd just be sitting on the couch feeling so heavy, like I have no energy to do anything. So it was like that all the way through Christmas. Like literally on Christmas, I had to do nothing. I had to wake up in the morning, kids open gifts, go over to my in-laws' house, hang out over there. I literally did not move off their couch. Like I told them, I'm like, look guys, I'm like, I will help as much as I can with dinner. I will help as much as I can with dishes, but like I am still don't feel like myself. Like I told my wife, I'm like, something else is wrong. Like it just doesn't feel right. Like I'm normally a pretty energetic person. I can't sit at home. I can't sit still. I want to go do. And like, I did not want to fucking move off the couch. So even Christmas Day, I sat on the couch at my in-laws' house and just hung out. And even if I did get up and do something, like little energy, didn't do much. Even the day before Christmas Eve was rough as well, man. It was really, really hard. It was a really tough time. So got through it all. So started feeling better. I think I posted a little bit on like later that week. So the 27th, 28th, 29th, I started to feel a little bit like myself. Had better energy, had the gusto to go do shit, like to go to the store if I needed to get something, had an appetite, that whole 9 yards. So now it's the 31st, and like, I don't want to say I feel 100% better, but definitely better than I have at all. Like, I feel more normal, to be honest with you. Like, I went out and saw Godzilla -1 yesterday, just to kind of get out and go see something. I'm glad I did that before it comes out of theaters. So that was cool, but my wife is still struggling. So she went to the doctor. She got steroids. She was even out of she was off. Like we had made a night. We have no kids either. Like we haven't had kids since Wednesday night, for crying out loud. All our kids went to go hang out with their other parents for the weekend because it's their weekends with them. We had talked about Thursday night, we're like, let's go see Godzilla -1, like at 6:45. And she's like, I don't feel like going. And I'm like, I hear you. I'm like, I don't want to go either. And I'm like, I don't want to go alone. And then Friday, same thing. I'm like, how you doing? She's like, no, I'm not good. She's like, I'm still not feeling right. And she's like, coughing and blowing her nose and all that stuff. And so she was still struggling. So we just kind of hung around the house Friday. Saturday, I went and saw the movie myself. It was her birthday, so I cooked her a nice dinner Friday night. I didn't cook. I'm sorry. We actually got sushi last night. And we just hung out at the house. I mean, beside me going to the movie to go see it, like we just hung out at the house. She's struggling. Even this morning, like we got up and she was like, hey, I want to go to breakfast. Can we go have some breakfast? So we went to Waffle House together. But even after that, she's like, gassed, like she has no energy, she's struggling, she's still coughing, blowing her nose, hacking, the whole 9 yards. So it's been a tough December, man. It's been really hard to kind of get over all this stuff. Like I said, I don't feel like I wasted like a time off, because it was really, I'll be honest with you, it was really nice kind of just hanging around in the house and not doing anything. That was really chill. That was really cool. Kind of watched some movies. We watched what did we watch? Some Julia Roberts movie on Netflix, which I actually liked. I heard a lot of people hated it, but I actually liked it. That was good. Watched a couple movies. So it was, started watching a couple shows. It was fun. It was a nice, relaxing, week, to be honest with you. I feel like recharged and have a full battery for work on Tuesday. Ugh, God, I want to puke just thinking about it. Going back to work. But anyways, it was fun. So, I'm back at it. So yeah, I've had a few pours over this last week. I had some Jack Daniel's 12 last night, which is like my first kind of like, hey, I'm going to have an actual drink tonight. I'm drinking Weller Foolproof now, which is great. I had this week, just to kind of get back into it, I had the Belle Meade Sherry Cask Finish, which was good, which kind of get back into it, lower proof. Had some Wild Turkey 101. What else did I have? I had something else too. I don't remember what the other thing I had was. But anyways, just trying to get back into the swing of things. It's weird being I drank in Germany. They don't have whiskey selection in Germany like they do in the U.S. The first night we were at the hotel where the conference was, they had Buffalo Trace at the bar. So I was like, all right, it's the best thing they had. That was cool. The next night, we ended up going to the bar. They had fucking Wild Turkey 101. I looked at the bartender. I sat down at the bar, and I looked at the bartender, and I'm like, oh, shit. He was like, what? And I was like, you didn't have that last night. I pointed to the Wild Turkey 101. He's like, oh, you're a Wild Turkey guy. I'm like, yeah, I got stuck drinking Buffalo Tracer last night. He's like, let me get you a pour of Wild Turkey. I'm like, absolutely. So that was awesome. So I got to have some Wild Turkey when I was in Germany as well. So that was fun. But yeah, like I said, first part of the month was great. second half of the month was rough. Like I said, still just starting to feel like myself again, have energy and going and doing things and getting out. So glad to be back though. I have energy and creativity in my brain to kind of start working on Instagram again. I mean, you guys have seen some posts now the last couple of days, which has been fun, right? I've missed that too. I miss doing that with everybody and interacting with everybody. Shout out to all of you that kind of gave me, I put a post out mid-month just kind of saying, hey, pretty sick. There's so many of you that reached out, either commenting on the post or reached out via DM to kind of say hi and just check on me. I appreciate that. That time between that day and the day I finally posted something, a lot of you reached out on DM. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome for doing that. Thanks so much for checking on me, and just making sure I'm okay, and everything's good. If it wasn't me being sick, it's my wife being sick and me trying to take care of everything for her. So it's just making sure we focus on each other and focus on ourselves and our families before, I go doing all that. To be honest with you, I didn't have the brain power, or the energy to do very much on Instagram. I mean, I could have posted old pictures. I could have done, this or that, but I had no energy to interact. I had no energy to be creative. It was tough. So thanks guys for sticking with me. I know you haven't had a podcast in a month. I didn't have very many listeners to begin with, but hopefully I didn't lose all of my listeners. So you guys will get a new couple podcast episodes as well. But thanks guys for sticking with me through all that. It was probably, when I had COVID, the first time, which was the worst time, it was in the month of December. The whole second half of December was like that, where I just kicked my ass. And unfortunately, I had another December like that this year. So glad to be back of health. Glad to be back to being creative. Glad to be able to do a podcast, record a podcast again and have something to talk about with you guys. And shared my experience with Germany in my December 2023 from hell. Looking ahead to 2024, I don't have any plans. I'm not a resolution guy. I don't. If you do resolutions, good for you, man. I hope you stick with them. I hope they make a difference in your life. For me, I've just never been that guy. New Year's to me has never been this big change, all right, this year's gonna be my best or anything like that. I just live each day the best as I can. I do like to spend some time reflecting, obviously, on what 2023 brought for me. Like I said, putting some plans of action into place for 2024, maybe not spending as much money on alcohol and putting more of it toward investing because I want to retire as early as I can. Things like that, but nothing definitive, I'm going to do this and this, I'm going to do that and that. I don't have that kind of structure. Never have, never will. I think just for me, it's just being the best person I can be, sharing that with other people, sharing experiences with other people. And I'm just looking forward to getting healthy again. I haven't seen my cornhole buddies. I haven't gone out and had a drink with them. We haven't went out to dinner. It's been literally a month since I've kind of seen them and hung out. So it's been a long time. I won't get to see them either because this week I've got a short week for work. I got to travel to Mexico the next week for work. And then that Monday, even after that, Liz and I are driving back from Florida after our little vacation. So it's going to be a busy 2 weeks of January before things start to settle down. So but thanks, guys. 2024, I don't know what it's going to bring. Podcast-wise, I'll continue on, right? Doing it once every 2 weeks. Try to get some of you guys all involved. If you're interested in being involved, or even if you don't let me know you're interested, I'm going to probably reach out to you. So if I know you and we interact, you're probably going to get reached out to be involved in the podcast in some way, shape, and form. I've talked about recording it video-wise and putting it on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that, right? I don't know how good I am looking into a camera, talking to somebody. I don't know if I'd be interesting. I don't know if I can get a green screen backdrop. I don't know. We talked about rearranging the room where I record in. So right now I record in my bedroom where my office is as well for work. I very much relate our bedroom to like a dorm bedroom because we haven't decorated it in a way that we both like yet. We still don't know like the placement of the bed and all those kind of things. But I started watching some Instagram reels over the last couple of weeks and found some things that I think I like putting an accent wall, moving where our bed is, putting my desk and my office in a different corner of the room, setting up that corner to kind of be very like office space related. And I've seen some cool videos that I want to do and some good ideas. So I think executing on those things throughout the first couple months of January and February will be good. I think especially after the Super Bowl's done, I won't have my Sundays taken up by watching my Niners anymore. So I'll probably start putting time into doing those kind of things and getting those things done. But that'll be fun. So there's a lot of things to look forward to in 2024. I look forward to still, interacting with you guys, learning what you guys enjoy, what you guys like, watching what you guys purchase, reading your tasting notes on pours and stuff like that. Just continuing the podcast as well. I think that's part of the fun of it is just the creativity part of it and staying with that. So cheers to 2023. I hope you guys all had a fantastic year. It is currently 6:12 on New Year's Eve. We are less than 6 hours away from turning the new year. Will I make it to midnight? I probably will, actually. I probably end up getting stuck down an Instagram rabbit hole and start looking at things. Last night was an Instagram rabbit hole about music. So I was looking at old music and listening to reels that I listened to, bands that turned 30 this year or songs that turned 30 this year in 2024. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm fucking old. And then there would be... And then I would listen to new music that I hadn't heard before, and it would be a reel about somebody else listening to introduce me to new music. So we were like listening to these new songs and stuff like that as well. So that was pretty fun last night. So I'll probably get stuck in a rabbit hole tonight. We'll probably watch the football game. The Packers play the Vikings tonight, so it should be a pretty decent game. Probably just hang out. If I don't make it to midnight, screw it. I don't make it to midnight. I'm not a big ball drop guy anyways. I'll wake up the next day, go, cool, 2024, let's keep kicking ass and taking names. So, but cheers to you guys. I hope you had a fantastic 2023. I hope it was everything you guys expected. If you do party tonight, please party responsibly. Please drive. So actually, this will be released tomorrow. So I hope you had a good New Year's Eve. I hope you had a lot of fun. If you're hungover, probably don't listen to this podcast tomorrow because it might give you a headache. But I hope you have a good, first day of 2024. I hope you guys have a fantastic 2024 as well. Looking forward to kind of interacting with you guys more, and getting you involved in the podcast and different things as well. Maybe we'll actually do a meetup too, right? There's a lot of people I interact with that I got to meet Nerds and Burbs this year, which was awesome. Dude's great, man. A lot of fun hanging out with him. Maybe we start doing a meetup. Maybe we get everybody together and we meet up at like 13th Colony, or we meet up at Old Fourth Ward or something like that. I know there's a lot of people in the state, middle of the state. Mr. Given, I think, lives down by Macon area. Maybe we find a place where we all meet up for a day and have a few pours and do stuff. That'd be pretty cool. It'd be cool if we were all rich enough to do a barrel pick. That'd be dope as shit, right? We all get together and do a barrel pick. That'd be dope. But yeah, maybe we do something like that. We'll figure something out. But but again, cheers to you guys. I hope you had a great year. Hope you have a great 2024. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Thanks so much for supporting me as well. I greatly appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Very much seriously mean that. And again, looking forward to this year and everything it has to offer. I wish you guys all the best. Cheers to you guys for 2023, and I hope you have a great 2024. We'll see you next year. Have a great night. This has been the Dram Amateur Podcast.